So you gave birth
Well,
to
no,
to
I did not. Let's
to
be very clear. I'm not
you
taking credit for that.
you gave birth to a Luke, and being the overachiever that you are, you had to complete the pair.
Oh man, and
So
I'm
now you
being
have a Leia.
yeah, I do have a Leia, and I'm being summoned to help put them to bed.
Oh, the
Look at the
timing.
irony.
The
The
timing. I
irony.
love it though.
All right,
Okay.
dear listener, we're gonna edit out an indeterminate pause here as I go help put the kids back to bed because they are giving my wife hell. So, real life, back in a minute.
5 hours later.
Is that not the most dad life thing?
Very
So Dana
good.
keeps asking me like, "Oh, did you make plans for this weekend? What do you want to?" I'm like, I don't make plans anymore. I
No.
don't make plans. Just
Yeah.
like,
Why lie to yourself like that as
it's
if you
like
have a
that's cute,
choice?
right?
Right. That's funny.
So yeah, so I have a Luke and a Kira now. Oh,
How's that been?
one set off the other, and we're just anyway. So yeah, it's as anyone who has two
Yeah.
small children knows, it is not double the work of one child. It feels like triple. Oh
Yeah.
man.
More is more.
Like today. So Kira's 4 now. No, 4 months. 4 months, brain.
I'm like,
Yeah, 4 months. But today was the first time I had a haircut in 4 months.
that's fun.
Ugh.
That's how that goes. Sound like quite the 4 months. It sound like quite the
Yeah.
4 months. It's funny, you just never know. And it comes down to this anyway. You just appreciate the blessing of having the time with your kids and to have them here and you just kind of work it out because there's no roadmap, and the way people talk about like raising kids and having kids is so slight that even though it's never a smooth ride, it's almost said like that. And so I think a lot of it is just the fact that you just kind of unlearning what you heard and actually paying attention to the situation that you have at hand. And some parts are going to be smoother than what you thought, and some parts are going to be bumpier or unexpected. So it's just kind of all part of the process. But
Yeah, there's also that big difference between like intellectually understanding that, oh yes, this would be an arduous thing, and being like, ah, fuck, just go to sleep, kid, please, just fucking go to sleep. Just, oh my god, I'm
yeah,
tired too. I'm tired
yeah,
too. I'd love to go to sleep. Can you just?
yes,
So
so
yeah,
true.
yeah.
I get it. It's been a while. I can't wait. Let's get ready to do this. All right. So, five, four, three, two. It's Jay. I'm back in for another one, and tonight I have with me.
Very tired dad. This is Ryan once again.
Back again is the incredible Ryan. So it's interesting. Even though so much time has passed, it seemed like no time has passed as well. And so we're back on another one. Now, I don't know if this was the one that we were expecting to come out. Was this the one we were expecting to come out next? Because I know they had a couple different
Yes.
things that was supposed to come. Some stuff got,
So
pulled
as
and
far
didn't
as like
happen. And
as far as net new,
yeah,
yes. I think like we knew that the Ranger show was
yeah.
dead, and pretty much kind of got some. I saw some things where like it's kind of confirming that like it's getting rolled into the next season of Mando, right?
Oh,
Kind of we
okay.
kind of figured that out. Um, they did drop. Oh man, I again uh, extra child responsibility, so I haven't had time to catch season 3 of I'm gonna do words. The Bad Batch,
Okay.
and I'm trying to stay away from spoilers, and it's really hard.
It is.
Um, and shocker, it looks as good as the other seasons. And then I think they also dropped like Tales of the Empire, another like
Oh,
CG animated thing, mostly about like bad guys.
okay.
I think they had some stuff where like was it Morgan Elsbeth,
Okay.
right? The Night Sister.
Yeah, yeah.
She gets her own sort of like flashback sort of stories, so that's cool.
All right.
But I ain't caught up on any of that.
No, I understand. I understand, man. Sometimes you just gotta do the, the story at hand. I saw one trailer, and I was good because I didn't want to over.
I also didn't want to
Yeah.
get too much information. There's a couple things that I've seen little snippets, and again, I've tried to stay away from like actual like spoiler stuff, like
Hmm.
people discussing it online. I think it mostly succeeded,
Hmm.
except for some speculation. But there's a few things in the trailer where it's like, oh, okay. There's a few other things that are gonna drop, and honestly, just with what they've alluded to in these first two episodes, it's like, oh, okay, it's that bit. Okay, we can kind of guess what it is, and it's the flashback that hasn't happened yet, essentially.
Okay. Okay. So they started us off with two episodes back to back, which was right on. First episode was Lost and Found, and then the second episode was Revenge/Justice.
Yeah, I feel like that's going to be their naming convention going forward,
Right.
which is essentially light side, dark side.
Right. 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 Which I'm not mad at, and it's appropriate titles for the show, or at least the episodes we saw so far. With this, I kind of like the fact that I didn't know what to expect. I will say, and not being messy, when I did see the trailer the one time, I was thinking like, there's a lot of female characters. We'll see how this goes. And it's just funny that because it doesn't mean that it's automatically going to be a certain kind of way, but then we kind of know how things are done, and it's funny because people are sensitive to it, and I'm kind of like, am I sensitive to it? Maybe kind of, but it's almost kind of like if you do it right, I don't care. You know what I mean? Just don't fall into the same. It's a hamburger, right? But be a special hamburger that I didn't expect. There's nothing wrong with being a hamburger. And people are like, oh, we're tired of hamburgers. But if you make that hamburger damn good, guess what? People won't even think of it as being a hamburger. And they'll ignore all the, the usual suspects like the bun and the ground beef and the, pickles and whatever. They'll just, it'll taste like a whole other thing. And so I was kind of curious on how that would go. But it had a lot of familiar faces, a lot of faces I ain't seen in a long time, which was really cool to see. But like I said, for seeing the trailer once, I don't remember exactly what I saw, mainly just seeing faces that I recognized, and was kind of curious on the angle that the show would take.
Well, I gotta say that's way more nuanced than most of the discourse I saw for the last 6 months leading up to this, because there doesn't seem to be a lot of guys in the lead roles. Oh my god.
Well, people were saying, I figured that. I was wondering. I know people.
Well, it's not just there's no guys. It's like, where are the white guys? Oh fuck! Like,
okay, we ain't got to get into this, but is it? And no, I'm not saying that so we don't have to talk about it. But I'm just saying, part of me is like, it's not wrong either. It's like if I went to go play my G.I. Joes, I want Duke, I want Flint, I want Falcon, I want Zartan, whatever he is, Zartan, certain characters, Snake Eyes and Rock and Roll and all that kind of stuff, right? And so, okay, even though it may not be the most diverse thing, it is what it is, and that's what we all grew to love. And
grew to expect, because that's
that too.
That's the thing. It's the expectation.
Yes,
that it's gonna be predominantly fucking white and mostly guys and all that sort of stuff.
But that's what it is, and that's what you're going for. And so it's like, put it like this: regardless of what people end up doing with their IP or whatever, there is an idea of what goes along with that. And there is a thing of when you go to support by or be a part of that, you're expecting to see the things that because it's not like name recognition is not important, right? So you can just do whatever you want to with the IP. It's important enough for you to use it to bring people in. And they're coming in expecting something. They expecting on the label on the outside of the box to be what's inside the box once you go in. And so if you be in there like, hey, I went there for a blue jacket and then there's a red one, you're going to be pissed.
Well, the nice thing is in this case is like they can just look at the fucking trailer. Like they can see. And it's like, as much as Osha and May, like the other lead is Master Soul. So like her and him, they are the leads. As much as Carrie Ann Moss is on the poster and stuff, spoilers for the episode, she fucking bites it. Um, great fight scene.
Spoiler alert!
Well, the thing is, we're not done seeing her because we
right.
got to get to the flashback that
Mhm.
we'll talk about. But like, she's not done. It's just her character's dead going forward. But there's gonna be a flashback. We're gonna see her and the other 3 masters and whatever this thing is that blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm really happy with the casting. Like, I'm liking all these characters. And as far
Yeah.
as like the whole like, oh, well, that's not what we expect from this IP. It's like, well, none of these are all new characters. They're all
Yeah.
new characters, right? So it's one thing to be like, oh man, I was expecting, a bunch of white dudes, and it's like, well, this is a different set of characters. Fucking
Yeah.
roll with it, right?
Yeah.
The hilarious thing is like, apparently, I'm gonna try and remember the character's name. I got IMDb open just because all the damn names.
Same here.
Vernstra. She's basically the green Jedi Master.
Yeah.
She's the only character that was established in the High Republic novels
Oh.
before this. So all these other characters are net new.
Oh. Okay.
They're first time showing up here in the show. So
That's true.
they get to do sort of whatever they want
Mhm.
with the characters. She's the only one that has any sort of like continuity limits on her or anything else like that. So I appreciate that these don't feel like wooden Jedi.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people had critiques about, George Lucas's prequels. Like, all the Jedi characters feel different. They
They do.
feel more like people that have feelings.
They do.
Right? As much
do.
as they're like, we gotta follow the Jedi code
Mhm.
and be cool and be chill. It's like underneath that is like, oh yeah, there's still fucking emotions, of course, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's no tension if they're just robots,
Mhm.
right? But the whole tension is that they're working through their emotions and working to control them, and they're going to be challenged and da 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 and all that sort of stuff. So they feel like people, right?
Right. Yeah. I'm digging the introductions of the characters and stuff. And like, just for the start of the show, it felt like it was pulled from the Matrix. I'm like, wait a minute, what is this? What is this? Even with the drumming going along with it reminded me of when, I guess it was on Matrix 3, when Neo first ran into Seraph and he had to fight to know a person by fighting them, and he's fighting on the tables inside the restaurant.
I am Seraph, but first I must apologize. Apologize for what? For this.
It kind of felt like that with this dance and this back and forth and the drumming with it and the using the energy against them. It was nice. It very reminded me of Neo, but it was cast with Trinity, and it was beautifully done.
Yeah, no, I feel like the fact that we have Carrie Ann Moss, Trinity,
Yeah.
in this feels like no accident for as far as the style of how they want to do combat. And we haven't even really seen a lightsaber fight yet.
No, not really.
Like, a couple people have turned on lightsabers.
Right,
Even Carrie
right.
Ann Moss and her scene, like,
Mhm.
did one or two things.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'm liking it. I'm really liking the combat, the fight stuff, the choreography. Like,
Yes.
I think it's a step up even from Ahsoka, because
I agree.
like there was parts of those fights that were really good, but there's also like, oh, that's a stunt double. That's a stunt double.
Yeah.
Like some of the cuts, like, but this was like, oh,
Yeah.
is Wu Ping still is doing fight choreography? Did they-
Exactly. Exactly.
Like, I don't want to Google him because it'll probably turn out he's passed away at this point because he was fucking old already. But whoever they got is
They're on
Wu Ping in this shit.
Yeah,
Like,
they are.
it looks really good.
Yes.
The shots are nice and wide. Like,
Nice
yeah.
flow. Yeah, you can really appreciate the
good
movement
camera
and stuff.
angles.
You don't lose where people are in the fight and stuff like that. So it's really nice.
Yeah.
It's really nice. Yeah. Even when I saw that and I saw her wake up, I was thinking like, okay, what's the deal? I automatically thought, because I saw the hair was different, and it was such an abrupt kind of awakening. I was thinking like, did she dream it, or she's also kind of thought,
is this a Tyler Durden?
yeah, exactly.
That's exactly where I went to.
Yeah, because I thought, I was like, man, this kind of reminds me of something else. I was thinking like things like, like you said, like Fight Club. It made me think of, what's it, Batman Beyond, The Return of the Joker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you are your own enemy and you don't know that's you.
And yeah, I think they did. What I really like is that by the end of the episode, that's not the case.
Right. They didn't
Like
keep pulling
they
it.
just
Yeah.
straight up like, oh, it's her twin sister.
Exactly.
We're jumping from May, the assassin,
Right.
to Osha,
Right.
the failed Jedi apprentice, right? And so it's the two of them, and it doesn't feel like through the first episode and then the second episode, it doesn't feel like they're just gonna hold all the mystery cards to the end. You're constantly finding new information. So in the first episode, there's a little bit of Osha getting a vision of her sister and going, "Oh, wait, are you real? Are you alive?
Right.
Oh God, my sister's alive." And I'm thinking, oh, May is using her training to be like, "Hey sis, I'm still alive." And there's going to be like a little bit of like, "I'm going to try and recruit you" dynamic. And even in the second episode where eventually Osha runs into May, and she's got her stun gun, it's like, she is
Right.
And even in that episode, she gets a little vision of her little sister
Young
May
self,
running down a hallway, and she follows and da-da-da-da. So you're like, oh,
Right.
okay, May's doing something. But at the end of the episode, you realize that is not the case because May didn't even know her sister Osha was alive either.
Exactly.
So it's just like, wait a minute. Okay, so either there's some like May's subconscious is reaching out, or some third party, probably the big bad, is playing the two of them.
Oh, that's interesting because they kind of showed a shadowy figure with a red lightsaber and just like, from a distance. Do you already know who it is already?
No.
Okay, I was about to say, don't tell me, but I was just curious.
I don't know, because like part of me is like, is it Master Soul? But he's not in the right places for that to happen.
Oh, that'd be so messed up.
Yeah, I know. but my brain went there and I was like, okay. Ideally, if
because they are playing with duality, so it could be possible when you start playing, messing with stuff like that, and what's real, and if I'm awake and all, so.
Yeah, but it seems too much for him to like, and then that's just like a repeat of like, Palpatine, Darth Sidious of like, oh, I'm just gonna suppress my force powers and all my dark side bullshit, and you can't realize I'm there. And now so I don't know who it is, but when they are introduced, I gotta say I've seen bits of the mask, and it looks fucking creepy as shit. So it's the front part is more or less, from what I've seen, mostly featureless, but there's like this giant, like bigger than Joker smile mouth of jagged, sort of pseudo teeth. Right? It's not colorized or anything. It's just like embossed sort of into the mask. So it looks like this sort of featureless mask that just has this massive jaw of like teeth across it. So it's like, all right, going for the fear factor. Cool beans.
Well, so did you see that where? So you saw that not?
No, it's like one of the trailers.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, I'm like, I didn't see all that because he's so far back. But that's cool.
It's just a quick flash in one of the trailers.
Okay. Okay.
So, but in that scene, it's at the end of episode 1, and sort of like May is walking along the beach, and you can sort of hear her master, whoever this dark figure is, talking about how the Jedi live in a dream. Yeah. Right? And I'm gonna horribly paraphrase from memory. He's like, you can't kill the Jedi, right? They're too strong, You can kill the dream, right? In what I'm thinking of that is they're gonna kill the Jedi's clean version of themselves. So there's two bits that stood out to me through the episodes, and one is the very first fight when May is fighting, I'm just gonna call her Trinity because I forget what her name is. She's fighting Trinity, and she finally attacks Trinity enough that she pulls her lightsaber. Right? It's like 2 minutes of just hand to hand, throwing knives, blah blah blah, and Trinity's just fucking trouncing her for the most part.
He was Master Andara.
Master and Dara. And so Master and Dara finally like, oh, you're gonna throw more throwing knives at me. I'm gonna bust out the lightsaber,
Yeah.
snack, and knock him out of the air.
Beautiful.
But May says a Jedi doesn't draw their lightsaber unless they're ready to kill,
Right.
right? Which, I mean, that's like a whole like samurai thing as well.
Hmm.
But she doesn't say that like casually, like is it just a random observation, like, oh, by the way, I've heard Jedi, they don't kill anyone. It's like, no, she's attacking the Jedi's image of herself, because
Yeah.
it's this whole thing, like she's been tasked, she has to kill 2 Jedi without any weapons,
Exactly. A Jedi.
right? So this might be one of those times where like the Darksiders, whether they're Sith or not,
Mhm.
are going to fuck with the Jedi's heads about their high ideals. And it's like, I, an unarmed person, got you to fucking draw down your lightsaber because you're ready to kill me. Do you
Yeah.
think you're so good?
Yeah, and it's interesting too because it got brought up twice about like who trains you. Like that was a
Mhm.
big thing that got brought up
Mhm.
twice.
Master Soul was like, wait a minute, you're a little too
Yeah.
good.
Right, right. So Indara, she said the same. But then also I was kind of wondering too because even though she's working for somebody, obviously, and it's kind of mentioned, it still had me kind of wondering because the fact that it's almost like like she was wronged in some kind of way. And at first you could see like Indara was feeling a little maybe guilty or not understanding and surprised to see her and trying to figure out it's almost kind of like she was kind of guilty of something but couldn't or didn't want to say what it was. And then when she came across the other Jedi, and it was so dope because she was trying to get him and he was in this kind of
His
stasis bubble.
impenetrable force bubble.
Right, which is really dope because she's doing all the moves she had. It wasn't working, and she's like, "Well, let me try another path to get to him." And then, out of guilt, he took the poison, and it was just like, "What did they do to her?" And it's not like, "What you did something to me, and you don't know, and it's just some confusion, so you're trying to fight to to offset it." It was almost kind of like,
You know what you did.
"Yeah, and I'm gonna let you have this. You're not wrong."
Right.
And I'm thinking like, what could they have possibly had done to her? Because then you have Master Soul. I thought it was kind of interesting how he thought that she was dead.
Yeah.
And so it was this confusion, and it was just almost kind of like, and then it seemed like it was an understanding between him and May about May accidentally, setting the house on fire and losing her family. So it almost seemed like it's kind of like innocent, accidental thing, but it's something else on this.
Clearly not.
Right. So what is the deal? And and I think it's a nice little thread for us to kind of go down and follow the journey of, her revenge and what she's kind of going through. But I am curious to see what it is and what's the misunderstanding and how they got so out of whack to the fact where she is fighting Jedi's above her grade level, and then also having ones that she can't beat submit to her and just go ahead and take the L.
Clearly out of guilt.
Yes, exactly. So I'm like, so where are we going with this? Very
So
interesting.
yeah. So, and the other thing, as far as like killing the dream, when May in the second episode goes and finds her friend Kimir, right? He's the fake apothecary that gives her the poison,
Yes.
right? So he says, peace is a lie, and you can kind of hear her like saying the same thing, like anticipating the answer.
Yeah.
And so that's, you remember when like the prequels, Revenge of the Sith, and Anakin's like struggling to meditate, and he's like going to Yoda for like help, and like, hey, I got some feelings, like I got a secret wife and I'm worried about her, that whole scene.
Right.
And Yoda's like, you have to let go of attachment, right? Attachment leads to fear, you're afraid of losing the thing, fear leads to hate leads to suffering, right? It's essentially like part of the Jedi code, right?
Yeah.
That there is this progression of negative feelings. And part of that is like, there's a thing about like peace and da-da-da-da. And the thing is, the Sith version directly refutes all of those things. So the first one I do recall from memory is peace is a lie.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you want to try and get tranquility.
Right.
Right? You want to get peace, but you never can. it's impossible. It's a lie,
Yeah.
right? And I mean, in an interesting sort of level above, where it's like you take these sort of truisms, right? These maxims, but like you apply them in the right way and they're false,
Right.
right? So peace is good, except if that peace is being maintained by force, right? If that peace involves oppression, right? So peace is a lie, right? And so that, I wasn't sure until he said that if the bad guys were going to be Sith or Sith adjacent. And that to me is like, okay, so they're probably, this might be the Sith enclave or whatever that starts the decline of the Republic and puts Sidious into motion. Because it wasn't just Sidious.
Right.
There was other Siths, masters before him, that put plans and actions to degrade the Republic and degrade the Jedi so they could be crushed in one fell swoop. Wow, and Sidious is just the culmination of that. So it might be the beginning of that process. I mean, I was thinking like, it's the High Republic, which partly was like branding so that it was like a different period in history. And it's different because it's the High Republic. Well, if it's the high point,
gotta fall.
Then it's gotta fall. So this may or may not be part of that narrative if you can kill the dream of how the Jedi see themselves, and they might start fall and degrade if they don't hold to it anymore.
I thought it was also interesting with Master Soul, how it kept being brought up about his feelings and his emotions. It seemed like everybody kind of checked them on there, just kind of like, oh, I guess she meant more to you than we thought, or, you know, just from every side. So, you know.
Well, it's interesting too, because it's like a lot of that's like exposition as well, but
yes,
like
it is.
You don't clock it.
Right.
You don't clock it until you're like, oh, they're telling the audience you're her former master.
Right.
But they're cloaking it as like, are your feelings good? She is your former student. Like she failed out. Like it's exposition, but it's concern exposition. Like, can we trust you with this? Oh, you really want to do this? Oh, well, right. So you're in the moment instead of just like, oh, that was an exposition dump.
Right. Yeah, I liked, like I said, I like the flow of this, these 2 episodes, the story so far. I like the world building. I like how the introduction of characters, and you learn a lot of them through their actions and stuff like that, and encounters with each other. They did a lot. They handled a lot in these 2. Not giving away everything, but I'm liking it so far. How it's flowing.
It goes surprisingly quick. Like it doesn't feel like there's any fat. The episodes were, you know, skipping the credits, which are like 6 fucking minutes long. It's like what, 32, 33 minutes, 36 minutes for the second episode.
Yep.
And like it goes down really smooth.
Right. Not clunky at all. Not clunky at all.
And the pacing's good.
Yeah.
There's a lot. So each episode has basically like one combat, maybe extended action sequence, maybe 2, right?
Yep.
Like I think the second episode, but no, first episode at the end, like the ship crashes, there's one fight scene. Second episode has another sort of extended fight scene, but most of it is just talking. A lot of it is talking, right? But things keep moving along, the plot advances, you're learning about characters, right? So it never grinds down. There's always something interesting going on. Like, yeah, it's pretty good. It's I'm cautiously optimistic. I mean, geez, another nice thing, I was thinking about this the other day, like the production quality is really good.
It is, especially the character designs for the aliens and stuff like that. It doesn't look, you know, gummy or too CGI-ish or anything like that. You know, it's just, and it's almost kind of muted, almost kind of real world looking. It doesn't feel like, oh, it's just popping out and the characters are glowing. Everybody feels tonally just.
Well, it feels like a lot of the sets are real.
Exactly. It doesn't feel,
and there was a lot of people that one thing that threw them off with the prequels after the original trilogy is the original trilogy is very lived in future, right? It's
Right.
very dirty, all that sort of stuff.
Right.
But it's like, do you remember Cloud City? Do you remember the Star Destroyers? Like, those had clean interiors.
Mhm.
So there are dirty things. It's mostly the Falcon. But like here, Coruscant, for the most part, was the cleanest spot, which aligns with this time and the setting, but everywhere else was
Right.
lived future, right?
Right. Right.
Everything else felt very grounded.
It did.
Yeah, the production design, like all that sort of stuff, I thought was like really good. I was thinking the other day after I saw the first episode that like it's one of those things where it's like, if I saw this on the big screen,
hmm
I don't know if it would feel like a movie, like if it was just all magically edited all
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
Like there's still, and it's like part of it is like I feel like the sort of color grading
Mhm.
and the lights and the darks of like let's say the sequels were just more crisp,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? A little crisp, a little more shiny, right?
Mhm.
A little more lens flare, right? This doesn't feel that way, and that is not a complaint.
No.
It's not a complaint, but it's like it was
dig
like
it.
I was like, this looks really good.
Right.
It doesn't quite look like that, and that's not a critique. That's an observation. It's not
Right.
like that is like the movie look is inherently better, and it might be
Yeah.
one of those things where they're like that wouldn't look good on most home theater screens.
Yeah.
Big screen might look better. Here
Right.
it might look worse.
I will say it's in between Mandalorian and Andor. It's between those two.
Yeah,
Not as shiny and not as like, oh, backgrounds, and you got the fake backgrounds of a Mandalorian, which is fine for that world because it fits. And it's not as grounded and stark as, Andor. So it's somewhere in the middle. It feels warm.
Andor, it's just visually.
That's like a movie to me. Like,
Yeah, it looks
that's
a
epic.
little bit. Yeah. And it might be like the camera lenses or the color grading,
Something, or
but,
the
and it's-
shots.
and it's not bad. Like not
Yeah.
everything has to hit the same tones.
Yeah, exactly.
right?
It doesn't. As long as it feeds into that story that you're trying to tell. So as long as you got the right brush for the kind of painting that you're trying to do, that's all you're asking for. Because anything other than that is gonna be a
Yeah.
problem. So, yeah.
So I'm curious. Outside of like our leads,
Yeah.
right? May Osha and Master Soul.
Mhm.
What do you think about Master Souls to tag along Jedi? So you got Yord and Jeki.
Yeah.
Jeki's his Padawan. Yord's Jedi Knight. What do you think of those two characters? Because I am tickled. They are fucking hilarious. Which they're not jokers in that
Yeah.
sense. It's the situations that they get put in are funny. And Yord is a dork. He's a by the book fucking dork, and it's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, he kind of bothers me, and maybe because he played that character that type of character before. I'm familiar with the actor, so seeing him again, kind of playing that, he plays that kind of character well. And I don't know. I think he's one of the ones. He's gonna do something along the line. He's gonna click for me. But right now, he's that one that's just like, man, you just, somebody blinking, he's grabbing his lightsaber. He just,
He's too jumpy. He's too by the
Right.
book. He's nervous.
right?
He's trying.
He is.
Trying so
And he doesn't,
hard.
and he doesn't have a game face yet. He thinks he
No.
does, but he don't. You know what I mean?
No.
He doesn't, but he's trying. So I think it's very. So he's entertaining to me, but
and it makes the Padawan
mhm.
Jeki
Yeah,
like the perfect foil for him, because for the most part, there's an exception here I'll get to where like she comes off as very relaxed.
yes,
Right?
but she's
Good
also
point.
reading the room too,
Yeah.
and she also acknowledging things that she think is cool. Because you think she'd be kind of a hard ass, because you can't really read her. But then she finds entertainment and stuff that's being said or happening, and she'll kind of like give an acknowledgement to it, like the whole thing, like, "Oh, you must be a starfighter," and he's like, "No." They had this little conversation. No, I actually just figured, so why didn't the droid do that? Well, the droid wouldn't have me because I'm more flexible, and this is, so it's just these little fun kind of like, oh, she's young, you know what I mean, and it's
Yeah.
okay, and she's
She's like
I
that
like
laid back, like high school
Exactly.
kid where it's
exactly.
like, you were probably getting straight A's,
Right. But you're not so hard up that you can't appreciate a moment.
right? And like she's not perfect because even like in her first few scenes with Master Soul, right? She keeps asking permission to speak frankly.
Right.
He's like, you can just ask me questions. You go ahead, right? She's
Right.
following the forms
Right,
in a
right.
certain way, the formalities that Yord does.
Right.
So yeah, I
Yeah.
feel like the two of them are gonna have their own mini arcs,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Because like I said, it's a trip because like Yord, like I said before, like when she was going for her belt, he got jumpy and he went for his lightsaber, and she kind of looked at him like, wait, like so he's not trusting anything, and he knows her, right? He's familiar with her, he knows her, and so I think it's interesting that Jackie, that she doesn't know her, but yet trusts her enough to try what she said to reboot, and she didn't blink about it.
Yeah.
So I thought that was an interesting, and she doesn't even know her. She has more reason to be skeptical of her and doesn't feel that way towards her. So I'm liking how their reaction, history and reaction to what they know of that person. And it's just interesting to see who's doing what and how come.
Well, and I think Yord follows the book and follows authority, either because he's nervous or the usual thing of just like, well, then I don't have to think, right? So I just go by what my higher up tell me. They tell me she did a thing. I'm gonna go get her. So I'm gonna be on edge. And it's like, dude, like clearly you were classmates. Like, so yeah, he's got. I'm hoping they both don't die. hoping they don't get used as like, we're gonna make you like these people and then tragedy.
That's so funny. And I for a second I kind of thought, would that be possible? But I was kind of hoping not, because I can't tell. Like I said, even from this so far, I can't tell if this is going to be on the kiddie side or this is going to be the heavier side. I can't tell yet. But I am.
Yeah, that's a good question.
You know what I mean?
Know.
So I don't know, and so that's fine. I'm fine with it. And it's funny because the actor who played York, the show that I saw him on before was a show called Russian Dolls that was on Netflix, and it's almost kind of like a woman gets trapped in repeating the same time over and over again.
Oh, that's him.
Yeah, he's in season 2.
That's right, because he's going through his own loop. Okay,
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's where I knew him from
I saw
before.
all of season 1.
Okay.
I started season 2. That's
okay.
You got amazing show.
Okay, so the person
Dear listener,
so,
go watch Russian Doll. It's fantabulous.
Yes, it is.
So good.
Yes, it is. So so that's where I knew him from, and he was kind of interesting in the beginning, but you started to kind of grow to appreciate him because he's a little different. But also she the woman who wrote and directed these, her name is Leslie Headland. She worked on Russian Dolls, and that's probably why he got pulled into this shows, because of his association with her on that show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I can see why she got tagged for this then, because the competency demonstrated in Russian Doll is really high.
Yes, it is.
So I wanted another take of yours, and specifically his hair. So I saw this thing, and it's not recent. I saw it like probably like over a year ago. This whole sort of meme complaint about like, yo, can we get some black superheroes and other people that don't have the high top / dreadlocks?
Ryan.
Every single young black superhero seems to have had the last 5-10 years.
Ryan.
Did I hit a nerve?
Ryan. That's so funny. Ryan.
Did I just use my Jedi powers to read your mind?
It's funny because that was on my mind, but I wasn't gonna bring it up. And it's just like, you stupid, and you're funny. You would bring that up, and it's not a problem, and I'm glad, because like some people wouldn't even bring that. It would be like, I want to go there. That's hella funny. Okay, hell yeah, it bothered me. How about this? First person I really saw with that was Killmonger, and the last person I needed to see with that was Killmonger, and I was done. I was up there playing the Spider-Man game for Sony, Spider-Man 2, and it has Miles Morales.
And he's got the haircut.
He got the same haircut. I'm like, it doesn't work. I I understand that somebody has a
Killmonger
hairstyle.
set the vibe
Exactly.
so hard on that.
Nobody rocks it like that. I don't want to see it again. They ain't been right since, and it's not fair. Because if somebody had like a high top fade, thousands of people had high top fades, and it didn't get old, right? And somebody had like a short taper cut or a Caesar cut, it never got old, right?
I feel like if that haircut hadn't gotten big because of Killmonger,
exactly.
It's
exactly.
like a certain very small pencil mustache that no one's caught dead with these days, right? If it had just come up organically and then Killmonger had it probably would have been like, oh, he's doing that. All right, cool.
Yes,
but it just seemed like after Killmonger, it was like just every black character had that fucking haircut. And like, again, I didn't care. I was just like a day later. I was like, oh yeah, remember that meme where it just like showed like 10 black, comic book characters and they all have that same fucking haircut? And I'm like, I wonder if Jay's seen that.
Yeah, of course I did. It was just funny when I saw it because it got distracting. Because before it was pretty, okay, it's very stylized looking. And when I first seen it, I was like, and I was thinking like, well, maybe the character is in a video game and that's probably why they're doing it. And, so I don't know if I should trip about it because I don't know if it's like a set thing that he had that hairstyle. So I didn't know how to feel, but just seeing it did kind of get me. And then you could see like on certain scenes, it was longer than others. So it was a little bit not as put together as in other scenes, and just like this wiggly mess. And I'm thinking like, what are you do?
Well, the other thing is, I had this thought about his hair. I had this thought about May's hair. It's like if you're combatant, like especially May, like OSHA totally could have that cool dread look that she has.
Right.
May shouldn't have that much hair flapping around.
People
grab things. There was a couple times in the fight I was like, grab Master Soul's fucking cloak. God damn it, grab his fucking robe. Like, you can get all the rest of this shit, grab his cloak and then tie him up, like, whatever. But it's one of the things, like, of all the things to, like, nitpick, it's just like, that's pretty fucking low.
But that's fair. I hear you, though. But I always have weird stuff with hairstyles and shows and stuff because, like, on paper it might be cool, but in action doesn't make sense. Right. Or sometimes if you're translating it from a game or a comic book, it just looks crazy. Because same thing with, like, Walking Dead. There's certain characters that came in that was from the comic, and they gave them the exact same hairstyle, and it looks nuts. Like, on the page, it might have been different as a drawing. But as a person walking around with that, it's like, you look crazy.
Right. Like the drawing silhouette works.
Exactly.
But the person, not so much.
And then, so just the interpretations is like, that didn't translate good. So I think it's always interesting.
One thing that I did like that translated really well, and I wasn't really sort of expecting this. For context also, I haven't really like engaged with most of the High Republic stuff. Like I'm aware, I know some vague plot points. I haven't read any of the books, I haven't really read any of the comics or stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I was like, my eye kept going to the gauntlets that they have, right? Which felt like, oh, that feels like a precursor to the armor the Jedi wear in the Clone Wars, right? And mostly the Clone Wars animated, where they really went hard on Jedi armor and things like that. I gotta say, those fucking wrist gauntlets, the back of the hand protection that looked like shit out of like a samurai movie, it really fucking, it works. I like the way the Jedi look. They look fucking dope.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't expecting to be like, oh yeah, no, I'm here for it. Like the look works.
Yeah.
Like, outside of his hair.
Yeah. Like I said, his hair wasn't bad, but like I said, it was too much attention brought to that hairstyle. Too many things said about it for it not to be a thing where, you might want to change it. You might want to, because it's just. I'm funny about stuff like that because even with the new Lord of the Rings show on Amazon, I couldn't take the black elves with the fades. I couldn't take it, man. I couldn't. I was talking to Eric about that. It was just like, dude, it was just a little past. Not that I want to see walking around.
It's like, wait, aren't you guys prisoners?
Right,
so it's supposed to be like taking months.
Exactly. So it's almost like I wouldn't want necessarily an afro, but then that would have been made more sense to me than this nice tight fade that I don't know. It's just funny the stuff that the stuff
it's like
that
one of those things
breaks
where it's
reality
like,
for me is funny,
it,
but
it,
that's
it,
one
it,
of them.
it feels like one of those things with interpreting, tangenting so hard, interpreting Tolkien's elves is how
Right.
much of their looks is like inherent to them. Like it's
Right.
almost a form of glamour. It's like, no, we don't have to like cut our hair on the regular, like all
Right.
this sort of stuff. It's like we work on different timelines. We're such a part of blah blah blah. Or it's like,
Right.
okay, yeah, whatever. But
Yeah, and also, another thing with inclusion in the wrong places. Maybe ain't no, black elves in that region, and that's fine. Just like you probably wouldn't be no white elves in Africa. Okay, so it's like if you go do it, just make it make sense. Don't just do that. Don't just.
there are definitely some things that are harder to pull off than others.
Just
Yeah.
come on. Come on. So I yeah. And it almost sounds like hate or it sounds like complaining, but it's not. It's just like make it make sense. And even though it's like, oh, it's not reality anyway, and this person flies, or this is happening there, or this is magic or whatever, regardless of all that other stuff that is, in that world to make that reality happen, it still has rules within that world with that stuff happening. So it doesn't mean that things crazy can happen in there and you just let it slide on in just because people are flying.
To your opener, it ruins the expectation, right?
Right,
because
exactly.
you're expecting, like, if we just take one step over and go to like the D&D movie, it's just like, okay, whatever, right? It's not Tolkien,
right. Exactly.
we can like, and there hasn't been like the established version of D&D movie that's like white Europeans everywhere. It's like, nah, just we're doing a grab bag.
Right.
It's everybody. It's everybody. We're all
it
mixed
was
together
fun
in Fantasyland.
And it was great, and I enjoyed it. And it didn't. None of that stuff just like it fit.
So there's no conflict between prior expectations and experiences with this new product. So
everybody else got wild hair that's growing out, and they just tied up in a band, and he got a little buzz. Like, what tool did they use to cut that to get that fade?
Sure, they just borrowed a knife from one of the orcs, right? So for the other Jedi, the Padawan Jeki, do you know which actress that is?
Yeah, Catherine King.
That is
that's
Baby
Laura.
Wolverine.
Exactly, that's Laura. Yeah, Laura. Yeah.
I haven't seen her anything else since then, so like, it's like, geez, oh god, time flies. It's been like what, 10 years? 10 years, god.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, Daphne King. Yeah, she's like halfway like a grown woman in the actual pictures I saw of her, but she still look like a kid kind of in the show.
As Jeki, she's like clearly looks like a kid teenager, right?
Yeah.
Just with the way they sort of like did the prosthetics and stuff. But like, I'm looking forward to seeing like her and Yord, which I haven't really seen do combat stuff before, like the actor. I want to see what they pull off in combat, because there is stuff in the trailer where it's like it's them and like a couple other Jedi lighting up their lightsabers like shit's gonna go down. So I wonder, I don't even know how many episodes this is, but I'm curious how quick we're going to get to the flashback of the incident, because just the way they're pacing things, there's like always that show where it's like, we're just gonna stretch out this fucking mystery until like the second to last episode. We're gonna do the big reveal. Oh, this has been the thing the whole time. Or are we gonna like figure out the big thing early enough to deal with all the fallout, and that triggers a whole bunch of other things that then sets up the big conflict at the end, right? Because I mean, I've seen a couple other bits of things from the other trailers, and like you can see, I'm looking at the poster right now, and they've got like, they got Trinity, and they got Master Soul, and they got the bad guy, and then they got the some Jedis, and then there's the cult lady.
We haven't
at the
seen
bottom.
Yeah,
haven't seen her yet.
Haven't seen her yet.
And 100% she's part of the flashback. because
Yeah.
there's just a snippet of a shot where it's Torben, the guy who took the poison,
Mhm.
Master Torben.
Yeah.
And it's him when he's younger, and it's Master Soul when it's younger, and it's totally the flashback. I've seen bits of behind the scene where Master Soul has, short hair and da-da-da.
Yeah.
And there's just a snippet where you see Master Torben's eyes go black.
Yeah.
And there's a totally separate thing. I don't think this was intentional, but it was like some clip I saw somewhere, and it just, last frame, it just stopped the ad, whatever it was.
Mhm.
And it looks like the Wookiee is fighting Master Soul.
And that's interesting because we see the Wookiee at the end of episode 2.
Yeah, so clearly they're going to go and talk to the Wookiee,
Yeah.
the last of the 4 masters. Well,
Yeah.
Master Soul's still alive, but the Wookiee's still alive. So 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
So I think within either the next episode or the episode after, we're going to get the flashback.
Yeah. They might be doing a whole interpretation of Kill Bill and the bride going down the line.
I think as far as May's concerned, yes. I think the twist is going to be, and this goes to Torben's eyes going black,
Mhm.
I think some of those Jedis got mind controlled and
Mm.
they fucked that town up.
Oh.
So I'm guessing those 4 Jedi, before they were masters,
Mhm.
got coerced, got mind tricked into basically decimating May and Osha's hometown village.
Yeah.
And that's the guilt that they're dealing with.
Yeah.
Right?
Definitely something happened.
And Osha and May have incorrect understandings of what happened because they were little kids and they probably didn't see the whole thing, right?
Mhm.
Probably just like, oh, our house is on fire. Why is everyone screaming? Oh, right?
Yeah.
So May is probably following that whole sort of like, I'm going to do the revenge path, like
Yeah.
the bride, right? I'm going to work my way through them as part of my weird task for my as yet unnamed Dark Master.
Mm-hmm.
But she's getting played.
That makes sense. Well, I'm thinking about when you mentioned Torben.
And he's got all those scars on his face. Like shit went down.
And he had that crazy wig. So, okay, you know what? To be fair, there's a lot of crazy hair.
Crazy wigs, yeah.
Crazy wigs in this show.
Master Soul's
hair was looking crazy to me, too.
Because it's supposed to be Soul, Trinity, Torben, and the Wookiee. They are the 4. So that's why Torben looks like a young guy with an old man wig on.
Yes, I was kind of looking like, why is he look? It looks crazy. Like I've seen.
Because they aged him up.
You definitely know that guy ain't that old, but it was just very interesting that
I thought it was a pretty good, like, not bald wig, but thinned hair wig.
Yeah.
Right.
I was just thinking this guy looked too young to have that kind of. But I understand. I didn't know he's going to be flashback as younger, so that makes sense then.
Yeah.
Now, if they just had a guy playing the old guy for no reason, then I'd be like, hey, what's up with that? But that makes sense then. Then that's fair. That's fair.
So we're going to get that flashback. It's just, I want to see it happen sooner because I think some of the critiques we've had with the other shows, like the other Star Wars shows, is like there's some sort of mystery thing to unravel and they just drop it right at the end of a season.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I think even like the Star Trek shows, which I didn't watch, but I saw reviews of it, and it's just like, oh, this whole mystery thing, and we're just gonna stumble along through the season, and then the bad guy's revealed, and now we have a big climactic thing.
Yeah.
And instead, I think there's more meat on the bones to have the flashback so we know what happened.
Right.
But then have the other characters, May, Yor, Jecki, like all of them have to deal with their new understanding of their mentors.
Right.
The whole that has to have time to play out. I think this we were talking about like with the what was it? Marvel Invasion, right?
Yeah.
It was the same sort of thing of like, why didn't you drop this emotionally charged conflict way earlier and give us time to let the consequences play out.
Right, right.
Instead of just like, oh, we're gonna drop it in the second to last episode, and then like, ugh, there's no
But
time to explore that.
Yeah, but well, at least with this, they are kind of unfolding and revealing at the same time. So even the fact that they didn't even take out the masters in the same way, one was like, you know, kind of confused but kind of understood, and then the next one was kind of like by his guilt taking the poison, kind of showed that. And then also with Soul, even with him, it's like him kind of denying, but we don't know. It seemed like he's kind of reserved and he's feeling a certain kind of way, but we don't know why. But we're understanding why he's acting the way he is, kind of because of how the other two are acting the way they did. They all these connections.
It's like clearly there's something there.
Right. There's some feeding into it, so it's not this pop up automatically like, "Hey, you did this to me." It's nothing like that. It's kind of like, definitely we all have a misunderstanding. So on one side or both sides, and so at least it's not like the person is doing all this stuff is so justified and we're going down this line and at the end we find out, oh, plot twist, they wasn't really blah blah blah. You're seeing as you go and you don't feel like, you know, I have an understanding of like where it's going versus I'm blind to everything and then at the end they just be like plot twist. And I like that it's nuanced.
Yeah, and it seems like they're doing a good job of, as much as they like start sort of like answering some questions, they're already feeding you other questions.
Exactly.
Right?
Right.
Where like the whole thing of like, well, why do you have to kill two unarmed?
Yeah.
Right? And you set up a whole dynamic between her and Kimir, right? The fake apothecary, of like, she comes back and is like, don't tell him we did the poison thing, right? Because that's me kind of cheating. You don't have to tell him that, right? Where it's very much like, if you fucking tell him, I'm screwed, right? So it's like you get to sort of like set up, well, what's his relationship? It's like, because clearly he doesn't seem to be set up as an assassin, right? But like he's the one quoting sort of Sith ideology,
right?
Ah,
it's interesting. Like I said, I'm digging it. Like the characters and how they're the world building and all that kind of stuff. Like I said, intrigue without confusion. So it's kind of like, okay, just enough to keep me interested, but I'm not lost. Yeah, like I said, we could have been talking about 4th episode and they still haven't bumped into her yet, you know? Right. So they had a face-to-face in the second one. And she let her go. She had her dead to rights. And
yeah, that
shot
was
behind her and then shot behind her again as she got away. And Master
see,
Soul came out and kind of looked at her.
Well, one thing I wasn't sure of, because it kind of happened fast, was like she shoots and misses the first time, and it's clearly like,
yeah, I got to do something. Yeah,
right. I got to do something. It's like, I should shoot. I should,
right,
but I can't shoot you. Right. I was curious if like the second shot, I didn't track it, but I was like, did she somehow shoot the gate control? Like, we have to get to the gate or da.
I didn't notice that, but I thought she just
shot some piece of equipment.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that like she opened the door and let her get away. Or...
Because they were in an open area anyway, right? I thought.
Yeah, but she went down. She went down a street.
Right.
I wasn't sure if like there was a door or something that I missed, and I just blinked at the wrong time. So it was me trying to understand: was Soul coming up and be like, was it just you didn't stop her? Or was it also you actively helped her get away? Either way, I don't think Soul's reaction would have been different, because it would have been like, that's your sister. I get it. Yeah. Like, I feel like Soul has totally enough empathy and compassion to be like, yeah, that's your sister. And you just found out, yeah, she's alive. I don't have attachments. I get it. Like, you do. You wouldn't be able to shoot your sister. Like,
did you think that Soul believed that she was really dead, or you think he was just saying that?
No, I read Soul's reaction as like, oh, she's alive. Like, I took it as genuine surprise. Like, it would have been interesting if he was even slightly like, excited might be the wrong word, but like the idea that she didn't die, right?
Yeah.
But like it's probably too strong a thing for his character as a Jedi to be like, oh, she's alive. That's great news, right? But like
he definitely wasn't mad. Whose side are you on? Because we've seen plenty of
Ah.
times when that's been done that way, right?
It's
Like,
before me, where
yeah,
it's
of
just
course
like,
I'm
oh
gonna
yeah,
shoot my brother and not trip. Come on now.
right. It's a ridiculous sort of tension to
Yeah.
have,
So they didn't go there. So I appreciate they didn't lean on to that. 'Cause that's
right?
normally how that goes.
Where it's like, it's nice to have a mentor figure that's just not a hard ass jerk,
Right.
right? Soul seems very much the opposite.
Mhm.
So yeah, it'll be interesting. I really don't know where they're going yet.
That's fair.
Like, I feel like May is getting manipulated,
Mm-hmm.
right? She's getting played, which, shocker, that's not a dark side tactic at all, to manipulate your own apprentice. What?
Right.
But it'll be interesting to see who the bad guy is
Mm-hmm.
and what is their plan of attack for destroying the dream of the Jedi, right? Where it might just be trying to break these Jedi and reveal, air quotes, their crime,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it's like, was it a genuine, like, they fucked up, or did they get fucked up in a way to do the bad thing, right?
Right.
So I don't know, it'll be interesting,
Yes.
and all the haters can go fuck off.
Now you got me curious. Now I didn't watch any reviews or anything like that, so I will check out some after this, just out of curiosity.
I mean, don't, because then you're giving, so okay, so I went down a rabbit hole like a little bit before Kira was born. I was bored because I had stopped running my Star Wars campaign, and I was like, hey, it'd be really cool if I could try to like run like a Star Wars LARP, like a live action game. But I'm like, I should probably do some research. And I was like, oh, there's a whole LARP subreddit and LARP design subreddits on Reddit. So I'm like, I'll finally make a profile. I'll go on Reddit. So I'm on Reddit now, and oh god,
Wow.
eventually, like, there's the Star Wars subreddit, and then there's so many other subreddits of Star Wars, and some of them, I'll just put it as the anti-woke crowd and the woke crowd, and I had to unsubscribe myself because it's one of those things where it's like you look at a thing and they're like, you want to see more of that thing, and I was like, oh no, I don't want to see more of this stuff, thank you very much. Just ironic because their two subreddit names are almost the same thing. But the woke one, a bunch of it is just sort of hate watching the stuff that the other people say, all the anti-woke crowd,
Yeah.
with like all their like, you know, rage bait videos and like thumbnails and like this one's and it's just like, you know, I almost want to unsubscribe from this Reddit because I'm like, I don't want to see the shit that they're saying. Not the woke crowd, but the fact that they're just reporting on the anti-woke stuff. It's like, why aren't there more white guys in this one? It's like, oh, these fucking girls. Oh, Kathleen Kennedy, she's gonna murder the franchise. It's like, oh, look, I specifically don't go there. Why are you just reporting what they're fucking saying and the beef you're having? It's just like, I listen to less so, but like the On the Media podcast, which is a podcast that critiques in a very sort of serious and professional sense the media and journalism and journalistic standards and approaches, and it's, you know, it's NPR adjacent, like it's one of their like substations that, you know, produces it,
right?
But they go through a similar thing, not so much of like hate watching the thing, right, but like, how do we as journalists talk about things like Trump, things like fucking Nazis? And it's like one of those things where it's like, you almost don't want to give them oxygen, but also not acknowledging that those things are happening,
that could be a problem
also too. Bad, because then it just like shows up and everyone's like, where did that come from? Well, it's like, I mean, we didn't want to talk about it because like fucking this giant newspaper did a puff piece on a goddamn neo-Nazi, and it's like, I was like, why are you following this guy around and writing a long-winded essay about his nuanced views? He's a fucking Nazi. But it's like, you also gotta be like, you gotta like do the high level of like, oh, there's fucking neo-Nazis now. And they're like showing up at rallies in fucking like riot gear and face masks on. And it's like, so anyway, yeah, it's been a fun time on Reddit.
Yeah, Reddit, yeah. It seems like it's the other, I quote unquote, the intellectual Twitter. Anything I ask, Reddit comes up first. And you always ask, do you want to be, the app? I'm like, no, I don't want to sign in or nothing. Just give me my little thing I need and I'm getting out of there. So
I've looked through Reddit for years when I was searching for stuff and I would find links and stuff, but it was when I was like, I'm going to delude myself into thinking I might be able to make a Star Wars LARP. Oh my God, was I fucking delusional? But yeah, so now I'm on Reddit. And
the first 2 episodes, from what I've seen so far, makes me look forward to the rest of it. It looks very confident as far as who hands this in. Like I said, it's written and directed by the same person, so it's nice to see it's being translated well, her words into her direction. And so sometimes you can have a thing where you might be a better writer than director or a better director than writer, and that's apparent too, but kind of jives smoothly. And it's all of like the mind of that person. Then that goes to show they probably have a lot to say for the whole journey that we're going on. And so
there's no hiccups yet.
Yeah. So if it had bad writing or something, it'd be interesting. Oh, it's bad writing, but it's good angle shot. But no, it was good writing and good storytelling and good direction. So
I'm curious to see. So the sort of one thing that I sort of read up on, the director, right, Leslie Headland, right, creator, director, writer.
Yep.
So she specifically asked and went to the prop people for like a unique lightsaber, and it's not so the green Jedi, she's got a lightsaber whip that is from the comics, that's from the books, and that is not this special unique lightsaber. So it hasn't shown up yet, but basically she's like, I want to try and do this thing, and the first thing she got was like, we can't do that. And she was like, can you try first before you say no? Like, I think it'd be cool. It'd be cool. I want to try it. I'd like to do this. So like, just try and then come back and say you can't do it. And they're like, we figured out how to do it. She's like, sweet. So she's jazzed to see it. I'm very curious to see what form that's gonna take of lightsaber and who's gonna use it. So I don't know. We'll have to see.
Okay.
We'll have to see.
It's something to look forward to. Like I said, I'm looking. I enjoyed it. And like you said, if you saw the trailer, and like I said, even when I first saw the trailer, I was kind of like, oh, I've seen this before, and it's turned out kind of bad. So
I got excited previously. I was like, ooh, Book of Boba Fett.
Right. Right. So I was kind of like, oh. So, but to me, it's like a girl power kind of thing. It just so happened these characters are the ones finding themselves in this thing. And it wasn't like, even when she was trying to use the Force and it didn't work, that was perfect. It wasn't like, if that Force would have worked out, I had a problem. But since the ship was tilting over and it slid towards her and she's able to get it, that was fine. Like, it
was a good moment.
Yes.
And the thing is, you get to see the other skill that she has with her little droid. Like, dude, a droid tool.
Right, which is
really
cool.
It's a handheld droid tool and like all the different configurations. So it's like,
Right. So far so good. Like I said, if you didn't like the trailer, and even the trailer I thought was good. Like I said, I enjoyed it, and it had like a vibe to it that I really enjoyed. But I thought the trailer summed up what I saw pretty well so far. And it was even better than what I thought, and I didn't really know what to expect. I'm not familiar with this far back in lore, because this takes place way before everything else anyway.
Well, that's the beautiful thing. They designed it so no one had to walk in the door knowing anything.
And I love it. All right, so we got the first 2 episodes down. I think it's going to be a good season.
I'm not even sure how many episodes there is total.
Normally it's like 8 normally, right?
I would not be surprised. That sounds about right.
So what? We got 2 up front, so they're probably not going to do 2 each week, right?
No,
It's just going to be
I'm sure
one,
now
one,
it's
one.
just going to be they're going to drop one a week. Got to keep those subscription numbers up.
That's true. That's true. And I guess as we go along, we could decide if we're gonna do 2, 2, 2, 2, or if we're gonna do these 2, 1, 1, 1. So we'll work it out.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes. But I'm looking forward to more discussions and see what's gonna happen next week when they introduce the Wookiee. You're not familiar with that character either?
No.
Okay.
I think he's also net new. It was an interesting thing when they cut to whatever planet he's on. It's not
Yeah.
the Wookiee homeworld,
No.
but past the valley, like there's a mountain in the distance, and there's a forest, and those trees are huge.
Yeah.
So those are most likely imported from the Wookiee homeworld because they had like skyscraper-sized trees.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So like I said, I'm looking forward to more of this. Any last words?
I'm tired. We need a babysitter.
I hear you.
I
hear
have
you.
told so many servers at so many restaurants now. We're like, can we get you anything else? It's like a babysitter. No shame. No shame.
Hey man, closed mouths don't get fed. So that's how that goes. Well, all right. So it's been Jay and Ryan discussing the first 2 episodes of The Acolyte, now streaming on Disney Plus. Until next time, peace.
In a galaxy not further away. What is it? A longer time ago. Galaxy. Peace in a longer time ago. Wow, I really dropped the ball on that one. Good night, everyone.
It's been a while. All's forgiven. It's been a minute. All right, next time. Peace.
Out. Oh, Jesus.
All right, man. Just like old times.
We don't have any fun. It's so dull. It's so dry, so boring. It's like reading an academic paper.
I don't understand how we don't miss a beat. Like, I don't know what I was nervous about. I'm trying to remember. It's like, that's crazy. Like some stuff it's just meant to be. Who
It's like
knew?
riding a bike with training wheels.
That's right. Who knew? Who knew?